Ever gotten a no that just floored you? A rejection that made you question, well, everything? What if I told you that every single one of those rejections wasn't a failure, but was actually forging your greatest superpower? Stick around, because I'm going to show you how to turn the pain of rejection into the fuel for your biggest wins. Let's be real. Rejection stings. Whether it's a job you poured your heart into, a relationship, or a creative project, hearing no can feel intensely personal. And there's a reason for that. It taps into a primal part of our brains that links rejection with being cast out of the tribe, a legit survival threat way back when. That's why it feels so deep, so devastating. As psychotherapist Dipti Tate explains, this can trigger an immediate reflex of self-doubt that makes us question our own abilities and worth. And that's when we start telling ourselves a story, right? A story where we're not smart enough, not talented enough, not good enough. That little voice of self-doubt just gets louder and louder until we start to believe it. And that right there is the real danger of rejection. It's not the no, it's the story we tell ourselves about it. We let it define us and we build a prison of our own limitations, one setback at a time. I remember this one time. I was so sure I'd landed this dream project. I'd pulled all-nighters for weeks and I put everything I had into the proposal. I was already picturing the victory lap. Then the email landed, a polite but very firm no. The floor just fell out from under me. For days I was a zombie. I replayed every meeting, every word, just trying to pinpoint where I went wrong. And the voice in my head was brutal. You weren't ready. You're not as good as you think you are. You failed. That feeling of worthlessness was just crushing. And I know so many of you have been there. You start seeing your entire life through the lens of that one rejection, forgetting all the progress you've made. Your motivation just vanishes, and it's replaced by the fear of trying again. The fear of feeling that same sting. I wallowed in that dark place for a while, letting that failure just eat me up. But then, something shifted. I started digging into the stories of people I really admire, and I saw a pattern I couldn't ignore. Every single one of them had a backstory littered with brutal rejections. The popular story goes that Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper because his editor felt he lacked imagination and had no good ideas. Reportedly, one exhibitor was even worried his early Mickey Mouse cartoons were too scary for women. J.K. Rowling's manuscript for Harry Potter was turned down by about a dozen publishers before one finally said yes, and even then the editor told her not to quit her day job. Michael Jordan was famously cut from his high school varsity basketball team as a sophomore. He went home and cried, sure, but he didn't quit. Oprah Winfrey was demoted from her role as a TV news anchor after producers told her she was unfit for television. And Steve Jobs? He was forced out of Apple, the company he built from the ground up. But in his famous Stanford commencement speech, he called getting fired the best thing that could have ever happened to him. He said it gave him the lightness of being a beginner again and kicked off one of the most creative periods of his life. That was my light bulb moment. Rejection wasn't the end of their story. It was a critical plot twist. It wasn't a final verdict on their talent. It was a redirection. As the author Steve Maraboli said, every time I thought I was being rejected from something good, I was actually being redirected to something better. And that's the mindset shift that changes everything. Rejection is not a stop sign. It's a signpost. It's just information. It's the universe giving you feedback. And if you can learn to listen, you can use that feedback to find a path that's an even better fit for you. Every no is just guidance. It's a signal that either you need to grow or you're being saved from a path that wasn't yours to begin with. That doesn't just help you cope, it makes you powerful. Okay, before we get into the how, I want to hear from you. Drop down to the comments right now. What's one rejection you faced that, looking back, actually pushed you towards something better? Let's build a library of these stories to remind each other that rejection is just redirection. I'll be down there reading and replying to as many as I can. So once you really get that rejection is just data, you can start using it. You can turn it into your actual superpower. Here are 3 ways to reframe every no you'll ever hear. First up, see rejection as a projection. The first step is to take it less personally. A lot of the time, a no has almost nothing to do with you. It's a projection of the other person's own stuff, their fears, their mood, their limits, their circumstances. Maybe the person who turned down your idea is just having a terrible day. Maybe the company that didn't hire you just had its budget slashed. The person who said your art was too edgy. That might be the same kind of thinking that got Anna Wintour fired from Harper's Bazaar early in her career, a move she later said was because her shoots were too out there for them. When you realize rejection is often a reflection of their reality and not a measure of your value, you take your power back. You stop thinking, I'm not good enough, and start thinking, this wasn't the right fit right now. This isn't about making excuses, it's about seeing the whole board. It frees you from all that emotional weight and lets you move on. Second, see rejection as protection. This one can bring a lot of peace. What if rejection is actually the universe looking out for you? From a spiritual perspective, you can see it as divine intervention, steering you away from something that wasn't actually right for you. It's the universe saying, nope, not this one. Because something better is waiting. Think about a job you were crushed not to get, only to find out months later the company had a super toxic culture. Or a relationship that ended, which then created the space for you to meet a partner who truly gets you. Sometimes a closed door is a blessing in disguise, saving you from a path that would have led to a dead end. To really embrace this, you have to trust the process a bit. When you can honestly look at a rejection and say, thank you for protecting me from what was not meant for me, you shift from being a victim to being empowered. And third, see rejection as a catalyst. This is where you turn it into pure fuel. That intense feeling you get from rejection, the sting, the anger, the disappointment, that's a powerful source of energy. You can let that energy tank your confidence, or you can channel it into rocket fuel. Michael Jordan used the memory of not making the varsity team to fuel his insane work ethic. Stephen King's first novel, Carrie, was rejected by about 30 publishers. He got so discouraged he literally threw the manuscript in the trash. His wife Tabitha fished it out and told him to keep going. Those rejections fueled his persistence. This is where having a growth mindset, a concept from researcher Carol Dweck, is crucial. A growth mindset lets you see rejection not as proof you're a failure, but as a challenge. It's a chance to learn, to get clear on your goals, and figure out how to get better. It motivates you to prove people wrong, to work harder, and to get creative. It forges resilience. Every setback you bounce back from makes you stronger, tougher, and more unstoppable. Look, if you're living a big life, you're going to get rejected. It's not just unavoidable, it's a sign you're actually aiming high enough. The goal is never to avoid rejection. The goal is to completely change your relationship with it. So stop seeing no as a judgment on you. Start seeing it for what it is. It's just information. Maybe it's a projection of their stuff, not yours. Maybe it's protection, saving you from the wrong path. Or maybe, just maybe, it's the catalyst that will launch you into your next great chapter. The next time you face a no that makes your stomach drop, just breathe. Remember this, that feeling isn't proof of your failure. It's the feeling of a new power being forged inside you. It's the pain that comes before strength. It's the universe redirecting you to become the person you were always meant to be. Embrace it. Use it. And let every single no build you into someone who is simply unstoppable. Hey, thanks for watching. If this hit home, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more on building an unstoppable mindset. And please, share this with someone who needs to hear this today. Go turn your rejection into your superpower. I'll see you in the next one.